The tenacity of the American pioneer was the driving force of the American West. The western frontier had settled on the idea of manifest destiny. Manifest destiny is the idea that God manifested the American continent for Americans to settle from coast to coast. After the Civil War, pioneers rushed to the great expanse of the Trans-Missouri West. The pull of the treasures of the new frontier drove the settlers to settle in the new territories. Fur trading, gold mining, and farming were the opportunities the settlers were seeking in the pristine American West. The railroad helped open up the West by selling the land that the government had given them to the new pioneers. The federal government offered land that helped spur the flow west. The Oklahoma land rush of 1889 was a prime example of the push west. The western settlers were made up of Eastern American citizens and immigrants from many different countries. The Chinese immigrated to work for the expanding railroad and as mining laborers. Many Japanese came for the opportunity to farm and fish. The romantic prospect of being a cowboy on a long cattle drive from Texas to the northern plains drew many an Easterner to the West. The native Hispanic population worked for newly arrived settlers, helping to expand and cultivate the West. The great rush of immigration from other countries threatened to overpopulate and dilute our truly American culture. Immigration was eventually banned until 1924, when the current immigrants were allowed citizenship. There were many obstacles for the settlers of the great American West. The Native American Indians were one major obstacle the U.S. government was plagued with having to overcome. Years of Indian wars, treaties, reservations, and attempts to assimilate them into white culture finally broke down the Native American Indian stronghold on the West. The Plains Indians were dependent upon the buffalo and migrated with the herds. The white settlers hunted the buffalo almost to extinction. This was one more nail in the coffin in the way of life for the Indian. The U.S. government had believed that the American West would take more than 500 years to settle. The West settled far more rapidly than anyone might have expected. National parks were established to preserve the western beauty, and railroads worked fiercely to expand to the settlers. The expansion of the railroad finally extinguished the need for the long cattle drives by bringing the market to the ranch. When the expansion west finally met the Pacific Ocean, many urban cities had already been established. Farming had become a big business, and the need for labor unions was arising. The West was finally being tamed. The final phase in the development of the great American West was leading to the modern life that we know today.